Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So, all of you out there watching the news, no doubt, you've seen what's going on in response to the sarin gas attack last week in Syria from the Assad government. Trump has decided to get us involved in another war and bomb the Syrian government. And what I believe they lobbed something like 50 cruise missiles or something and blew up an airport, something like that. I don't know. Reports are still coming in. Wow. So right now, I'm feeling on the one hand disgusted, and on the other hand vindicated, because in my Trump prediction video that I made right after the election last year, I predicted that Trump would get us into another war. Go back and watch that if you want to. All right. That was my, first prediction. One of them. I don't know if it was the very first one. I can't remember. But one of those was Trump gets us involved in another war. And lo and behold, 2.5 months in, it already happened. Now a lot of people out there might be asking themselves, how did, this happen? Because Donald Trump was supposed to be the anti-war candidate. I don't know if you remember, but he specifically said that, we shouldn't get involved in Syria, and stuff like that. And he said that Iraq was the wrong decision and blah, blah, blah. And I never supported it, even though he, is on, there's audio of him supporting it on the Howard Stern show, but whatever. He was supposed to be the anti-war candidate, and a lot of people out there voted for him over Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton was a little more hawkish. And, I just want to say, first off, why? Why did you think Trump was anti-war? I mean, he straight out said that one of his strategies was going to be to kill civilians. That was his strategy. That's what he said. We need to bomb their families, when he was talking about ISIS, we need to bomb their families. That's what he wanted to do, right? And that's what he's done so far with that. There was that botched military strike, last month that killed 200 people, right? He's not, he actually removed the restrictions from the drone strikes. Under Obama, every time they would use a drone strike on somebody, it had to be vetted and it had to go through a process to make sure that collateral damage was limited, right? Trump got rid of all that shit and just said, just bomb like crazy. And drone strikes have gone up fourfold since he's taken over, right? I mean, we're bombing in it's like, so I don't know why you would think that he was anti-war, why he wasn't going to do something like this, right? Secondly, if you remember, Obama had this same situation in 2013. The last time that the Syrian government used chemical weapons, right, and killed a bunch of civilians. We were also brought to the brink of war then, if you remember. Obama said, yeah, this is a red line that, you're not allowed to cross. And he, was on the verge of ordering a strike. And then John Kerry and the State Department managed to negotiate a settlement. They managed to get Assad to turn over some chemical weapons and to pledge to not use them in the future, right? And this is, 2013. That's not that long ago. That's what, 4 years, 3.5 years, right? Not that long ago. And so the same thing. So here's a perfect example of why it matters who the president is. You have a situation that can bring us on the brink of war. One president, right, has a level head, right, uses diplomacy and gets an acceptable outcome. The other president fucking just obeys the whims of his ego and doesn't want to look weak and starts a fucking war. Okay, that's why it matters. All right, so of all you people out there who, are disgusted with the political process, right, and say that, there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats, this right here illustrates the difference, all right? This shows why it fucking matters. This shows why you don't vote for somebody like Trump, someone who's like a fucking, spoiled man baby, you know, with an ego the size of fucking Montana, right, who doesn't know anything and doesn't fucking read and doesn't even like pay attention to his own intelligence reports. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that shit. I've made 3 or 4 anti-Trump videos. You can see the reason why this guy shouldn't be in charge. You know. One final thing. Some people are going to say, okay, well, what would you do about it if you were in charge, right? What would I do about it? Well, I wouldn't get us into a war. That would be the first thing. You know, because, you know, and people are saying, okay, well, yeah, lots of people, you know, these people died, right? And justice needs to be served on the people like them. Well, we have killed thousands and thousands of people over in the Middle East in the last decade, you know. Last almost 2 decades now. It's I mean, the war started there 2002. You know, that's when all of the trouble started with Iraq and Afghanistan and all that. And it's 2017, so it's been 15 years that we've been in just a constant state of war. How many people have died because of our actions over there? You know, in Iraq, we don't even know. Okay, like they started the Department of Defense stopped counting, right? During the Iraq War, they just gave up counting, right? You can go to places like the Iraq body count and some other places to try to get an estimate, but that's all we have is an estimate. It could be as high as, you know, as low as 100,000 on the very, very conservative end, up to 1 million people. You know, those are the estimates. So it's probably somewhere around 500,000. Think about that. 500,000 people, let's say that's the case, because of us, are dead in Iraq, right? 500,000 people who were alive are now dead. Imagine that. That's a city. That's like an entire, that's like this fucking, it's inconceivable how many people that is. And then let's add to the, like, all of the drone strikes since then and all the other countries. And that's not even counting Afghanistan, you know, and then like how they like would blow up a fucking wedding in Pakistan and like, you know, just think about all the collateral damage while we were fighting, you know, Saddam's troops, while we're fighting the Taliban, while we're fighting, you know, Al-Qaeda, and now it's ISIS. It's just one enemy after another after another. You know, we deal with one, another one pops up, right? When we finally destroy ISIS, who's going to be next? You know, where's it going to go? And it's expanded into like 7 different countries. Now you have Saudi Arabia bombing in Yemen, right? Yeah, it's just, when's it going to end? When is it going to end, right? At what point do you just say, you know, enough, and you just leave and cut your losses and just say, fuck this is over with, we're done with this, right? When is that going to happen? You know, like when we achieve victory? Well, what the fuck does victory mean in this situation? Like, we just kill everybody, I guess. I guess that's the only fucking way. Because every single one of those people who have died because of a stray American cluster bomb or, you know, whatever, every single one of those people has a relative who is now going to grow up and become radicalized and pick up arms against the United States in whichever terrorist group is recruiting that week. Okay? It's this is what fucking happens when you have bad leaders. This is what happens when, you know, it's unfucking believable, right? So what would I do? I would probably just pack up and leave. And just, I would contain. That would be my strategy, right? Contain ISIS, right? And let's fuck it, just leave, you know. Here's the real reason. They want to kill Assad, you know, they want to get rid of Assad because he's a proxy for Russia, right? And that's why Russia is helping Assad, you know. Well, you can't fight, you know, which one is more important, right? Which one do you want to get rid of more? Do you want to get rid of Assad? Do you want to get rid of ISIS, all right? Because ISIS is fighting Assad. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help one group of rebels fight Assad and then destroy another group of rebels. And it's like, just fucking choose a fucking side, you know? Do you side with the Russians and Assad, right? Well, they're going to use chemical weapons. So do you side with them? Do you side with them to kill ISIS and turn the other way and not pay attention when they use fucking sarin gas? Right? Or do you, like, you know, want to fight Assad and turn your head when ISIS drowns people in cages and beheads people like animals, right? Or do you do option C and just tell them, let them kill themselves and leave? I think that is my best. I think that's the best case scenario, is to just leave and contain them and let one side win, and then we'll deal with the victor. That's what, at this point, that's the best we can do. All right, there is no fucking victory there. Anyway, getting off on a tangent, you know, just wanted to kind of, you know, get that out there, let everybody know, right? This is what happens. This is what happens when your leaders are incompetent. Okay, this is what happens when, you know, and now it's like, what's Trump gonna do next, right? You know, what, you know, now there's tough talk with North Korea. Is he gonna bomb them too, right? Because they insult his fucking ego, because he doesn't want to look weak, right? Is he even getting the correct information? We know his ass doesn't even read his fucking intelligence reports. You know, it's a shit show. It's a shit show, and all of you out there who voted for this man, you should have expected this. You should have seen it coming, because this is what happens when, you know, this is what happens when the president is fucking a crazy person. Anyway, adios, folks.